Hello, 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 hello. Today, I'm about to go in and work on Brillig again. And I'm doing this pinup, and as you know, I'm not good at pinups. In many cases, I am somewhat opposed to pinups. I guess I'm opposed to pinups when it takes the place of regular sequentials. Like if you can only do those and you can't do sequential art, I think that's a bad thing. Um, and I'll definitely admit that I'm not very good at them. But Aaron Lopresti's Wraith of God Kickstarter is having a contest, and you can submit a picture for the contest. And I don't know what you get if you win. You get something if you win. But I will also tell you, I've already lost. I saw some of the other work that's on there. It's really good. There's basically no way in hell. Here's my full. I think I got my pose right. And you saw some preliminary drawings that I did, stuff that was in my sketchbook. Um, but at the same time, you know, I think you have to the end of February, and I did this all last night. I thought it'd be fun to give it a shot. So here I am doing a bit of it. A bit of it. I'll show you some of the other ones I've done. Um, so I can't take too much credit. I can't take too much credit. This is from an art class that I did. I think that's a J. Scott Campbell um, Green Goblin, but I did the inking on it, so I don't know if you can see. It's got the blue lines underneath, like, but that is my inking. And then I did this one. Hang on, this is a Popeye, the spinach. Um, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, oh, I could do so much better now. And I was trying to use a brush, and I was trying to use nib pen back then. Not sure I did a great job. I did. This is the very first one I did, and it's an Aquaman piece. I don't think I did a great job on this one either. I learned a lot, and especially like around his face area. This is one from inking class. You can see it's two pieces of paper because I didn't have a printer that was able to print 11 by 17 cardstock back then. I got one eventually. I do have one now, and I have a Frankenstein that's really good that I did. I think my last project I did for the class. This is for a class. Came out really well. This isn't it, obviously. This is a Freedom Fighters cover. Once again, it's in two pieces. My last one I did is on one piece of paper. I'm looking for it. I don't see it. It's somewhere down here. Anyways, um, I see parts of this that are embarrassingly bad now that I think I could do much better on. And I vow to do better. That's all we can do. This one's different because, of course, it's my own art, which is not as accomplished as that pro looking art that you just saw there, obviously. But, you know, it's like it's like at the end of Pulp Fiction. I'm trying, I'm striving. And that's all you can really do. I caught a live stream. You know, I say don't listen to the adults. I was listening to this live stream from some so-called experts, and they're not experts. They're not really involved in any kind of like actual, um, commercially successful project at all. But they were talking about photo reference, and I think they got it almost exactly wrong. So I'm not against photo reference. First of all, I want to point out that I think photo reference is fine. I use it all the time. I've got an extensive Pinterest account that I use all the time. But and that's what they're talking about. Oh, people who don't use photo reference, they're just fooling themselves. But that wasn't really what they were talking about. What they were talking about was actually taking photos for every single, or seemingly every single panel, and the photo reference would then become the layout reference for the comic panel. So it's almost like you're using your cell phone to lay out every single panel in the comic. And then one of these dudes had the gall to bring up the uncanny valley and said, oh, if you don't draw it realistically, that's the uncanny valley. No, you got it exactly backwards. The closer you get to realistic, that's the uncanny valley. Yeah, here's what I mean. Here's check this chart out. You don't have to be a rocket science to read the chart. That's why it was coined the uncanny valley. As you start to approach it and you start to miss it, the closer you get, the more it throws you off. The real, I'll say the king of this awful art style is Steve Sadowsky, um, who I talk about all the time. And I was big into Justice Society, not Justice League, but Justice Society. I mean, it was cool. It was an old-fashioned, old comic book done in modern times, and the old ones in the '70s were awesome. They were a lot of fun. They weren't especially great or gripping or anything like that. They weren't very angsty or mature or anything like that. But they were wonderful. They were so much fun. And the cool thing about them to me um, was they were talking about a bygone era in comics. And so it was like this other world. It was like an invitation to another world where, you weren't old enough to have seen the original, sort of golden age superheroes at the time. But here was this comic that was set in the 1940s, for a while. That was the All-Star Squadron. And then they kind of upgraded it in the 70s where they're back to doing, I guess at the time, modern day. And it was just simply not explained that Wildcat was still around fighting. He's supposed to be like 75 years old. He's still like, I'm going to train Power Girl. Um, well, anyways, disappeared at some point, and then they brought it back, and they brought it back in a couple of different incarnations. My favorite one was this. I think it was called Justice Society Adventures. It had a kind of Bruce Timm, the animated series look to it, which was a lot of fun. And I quite like that. And I had all those. Um, and then they got, as they did through, throughout the 90s, they got a bit degenerate with it, of course, as they do. And, the series was kind of ruined. And then at some point, they put Sadowsky on it. And I think it was around 2000. I remember I was in the Army at the time. And you would see Steve Sadowsky. And so the style here was, it's either heavily referenced photos or just outright traced photos. It's one of the two. And I'm going to show you some poses here. Okay. Hopefully this is working. This is a Steve Sadowsky sequence from Justice Society. And first of all, right away, you can see the extra fidelity. This is what people are saying is really desirable is in these photos. These are either traced or heavily referenced, one of the two. And I don't think they're getting really that great of a benefit from them at all. Neither one. But this is here. Let me show you what I mean when I say uncanny valley. When it gets out of control. All right, in this scene, the shadow versions of the JSA have captured like these three neophyte members of the JSA. They've got them wrapped up in the shadow stuff right here. Now, do these people look like they're really captured? First of all, take a look at this. I want to zoom in on it. This is the Amazon Kindle app. They're not really. This is obviously done from a picture, and there's no weight because they're not really hanging from any web. This is a dude either snapped a picture of this with a cell phone. I mean, it's around 2000, so it might not have been a cell phone. It might have been an actual photo. So poorly done, right? And they don't seem too distressed either. Even though the dialogue, what's happened to you? This isn't you, Todd. You know, they should be the drama should be playing out in the forms here, and it's not. All right, so here's what happens next. Then we have later the shadow versions of the JSC move off, and Star and this is supposed to be Black Canary hatch a plan. So this is the scene. Now this is once again obviously taken from a photo. Canary, you awake? Unfortunately, first of all, mouths closed. Right? They're supposed to be talking. And they're whispering to each other. Okay, so maybe that's why their mouths are closed. But this is so obviously a photo because of the way the angles and the faces are done. There's no concern in these faces, either one of these. So then let's go to the next panel. Okay, that's fine. They're just kind of a couple of girls sitting around talking. And then we have this glamour shot thing. So basically, what is it? She's going to do something. She's going to break her out. I think I could work my hands around and blast out. Okay. Like, in the Silver Age, this would have been worked out with tons of drama. You would see, you know, the drama in the face of the character and the pose and everything. And instead, we get this glamour shot here. This looks like she's selling Maybelline products. Okay. And then we go to this next scene. You know, zap. But did we see the zap? We didn't see the zap, and really, this is like very non-dynamic, even though she's kind of jumping down. Yeah, I mean, what's... And then this completely non-committal figure over here. Okay, but that's not the worst of it. And then she's running, but this is what a photo looks like when somebody says, okay, pretend you're running and I'll snap a picture. And they're standing on one foot. You know, it's not even a convincing running pose. And then, okay, a poorly done silhouette. Then we get this disco dancing thing. Okay, all right, maybe she's battling these shadow guys right now, but it doesn't feel like a battle. Like this is if it was, I would have chosen a different angle than an overhead shot. And it almost feels like they chose this. This is pretty cool. I like this right here, but that's the only one I like. And then, okay, she blasts them away. Once again, overly, it's supposed to look dramatic. It's like this looks like a canned, like, all right, now I'm gonna get you from above and you're gonna look really distressed or whatever. It doesn't convince me. And then we have this, another glamour shot. Okay, I want you're looking for who helped you, and this is a dead, soulless face right here as she's looking out. All right, what else has she got? What happens? It's the new Dr. Midnight, ta-da! And he's looking super heroic and awesome, right? Except that's what you pose like when you're pretending to look super heroic and awesome, right? This is the picture that goes on the front of the display that sells the action figure. He doesn't. There's nothing cool about this. This is meant to look cool and to impress you, but it's not cool. All right, so let's go to the next panel where he's going to be helping her out in the next issue called Shadowland. Okay, so let's. All right, we got a little pin up here. We got I think this is our full page splash. Zooming in on the, they're trying to get some realistic looking vibes. He's got the Reflection in the goggles. Okay, let's see what Sadowsky's gonna hit us with next. What drama? How about this one? How about this one? So he's like, she's just been shot or something. I think she's literally been shot. He ends up like wrapping a bandage around her midsection. Look at these. She's got huge chest, right? And then it looks like he's just standing behind her, like, aren't you cool? Like, this is so obviously like, okay, I want you to sit here, and I want you to go behind like you're helping her, like this. And of course, mouths shut. They're talking, mouths shut. This has got to be. Oh, look at this. She's got a. Let's go back one. Possible fracture, eighth floating rib, puncture in common iliac artery. Right. We would think this is pretty rough, and somehow they use this as an opportunity to show some boobs as well. So here we have another. Okay. Once again, I completely believe this is a photo. And this has got to be a photo. Let me check this out. I'll check out my thing. And then he sprays her. Is she in pain from it? She's been shot in the artery. She's been like blasted. No expression. Nothing going on with her. And we're supposed to be like, yeah, that's because they're so cool. And then this ridiculous thing, I guess the message went out. I need to see more dynamic action. So let's get an up the crotch shot. That'll do it. That's a good panel, actually. This one looks like it's actually somebody put some work in on this one. But anyways, yeah, once again, obvious photo. I got my roommate, the guy across the hall, and we're gonna look like we're checking them out, and just do some kind of non-committal pose. You're a superhero. This is bad acting. If this was a movie, we would just turn this off. And let me show you the same effect. And by the way, once they switch artists, this effect goes away. This situation completely ends. All right, so here's the Warlord of Mars omnibus. And by the way, look at this. This is incredible. This is a Joe Jusko cover. This is what makes this thing worth reading. He's incredible. But first two issues of Warlord of Mars are illustrated by Steve Sadowsky, and he uses the same old tried and true techniques he used 20 years earlier on Justice Society. So let's take a look at this first panel. Okay, the character is bursting into the Wild West saloon or whatever. He's got a line bartender, a round of whiskey for these men. Can you not tell that that's a photo? That's so obviously a photo. I think he's doing a slightly better job. Maybe he's got better actors somehow. All right, I want you to be looking pensively, and I need you to take your hat off. And you, I want both hands out. We got you, boss. How about me? You stand in the back. Taught them Apaches a lesson. We sure did. All right, so anyways. We get through it. It's not all completely dismal, but it looks very, very, very posed, and you can just see it through here. This is stiff. Also, he hits all the wrong moments for drama. These guys, right? Yeah, did you hear me? A toast to Abraham Lincoln. By the way, these are the good guys on the Confederate side, and the Union guys are the bad guys. Don't at me. All right, so then they give him this hard look. Look at that, 2 hard looks. And then, I mean, it's almost out of context. I feel like I'm looking at a YouTube poop or some kind of Harvey Birdman attorney at law kind of thing. Suddenly they're laughing up, not just laughing uproariously. This guy's got it. He's literally pointing his fingers. It goes from 0 to nothing. Right? And then, wait. Once again, big dramatic panel, big dramatic moment? No, not at all. Then he slams the drink down. He went from laughing uproariously, right, over here, and then he's slamming the drink down like he's a hard dude. This is um, as a child, I would not have been impressed by this, I have to say. And and knowing how the sausage is made in this case, and knowing exactly how he did it. And like I said, it's either a traced photo or it's a heavily referenced photo. It's been laid out with a cell phone, right? You can use photo reference. That's a good panel. Look, it's a great panel, and you can tell that he didn't use too much reference because the arm is about it would hang down to his below his knees, and the hand is too large. Um, he either redrew the head or he didn't reference this one. I think I have to believe he probably referenced it because he did everything that way. And then they've got their hats on the table, you know. All right. So, and we got this one. This looks like the cover of some like awful country album. They were like walking out the door, like they're like this is like a country music television video here, right? They're walking out. Okay, let's go for a super dramatic moment. They're walking out. Everyone's leaving at this point, right? Once again, super dramatic. We've got the beads of sweat on the forehead, and then it's, we're staring at each other. You can tell these poses are frozen in time, and then suddenly he erupts into gunfire, and we've got people flying through the air. It's not believable. The expressions done by the actors in this case don't seem to fit in the comic book universe. Like they don't. It's not like if you had done like if Will Eisner had drawn this, he would not have done it this way. There would be a lot more play between the characters, and you would be completely drawn in, through the magic of illustration. And I'm not saying Will Eisner didn't use photo reference or whatever. I'm sure he did in many different ways, but we would understand the illustration as being part of that comic book universe. So, anyways, that's my talk. Steve Sadowsky is garbage, and you can get photo reference wrong.